Let's continue from where we left off. The vague use of the word video game and the lack of more precise words keep us from understanding the essence of this media. That which cannot be named has no place in our minds. The confusion between art and video games exists because of this lack of words. Certainly, there is some kind of relation between video games and, let's call it by now, artistic video game. Just as we can find similarities between films and TV serial commercials. TV commercials use shots to create a narrative as much as films do, though these two media differ in its concept, as one media tries to make you buy shit, while the other one uses shots to create a cinematographic language. Seriously, stop eating those cereals. We must step back before we talk about the essence of video games. Have you noticed there is a kind of brotherhood regarding board games, sports and video games? All these media are different rivers which come from the same source. Don't you know the name of the mountain? Interactive system. These concepts have all the same origin, as we can find in all of them mechanics and thus dynamics. If you are not familiarized with these two concepts, I'll leave a video in the description in which I briefly explain them. Despite they having the same origin, somehow we can detect a difference in its core. Basketball has its mechanics, football has other type of mechanics, but Call of Duty and Medal of Honor have its own mechanics too. Then, why we think of basketball and football as sports and not as video games? Is it the ball that makes the difference? Would we turn basketball into the video game we all want if we equip the players with guns? Is it the name? Maybe if adding a few cool words. Call of the Cesta Ball. Honor of the kicking person. Well, the truth is the first difference we can talk about is less exciting, but it is also less silly. There are two kinds of interactive systems, the natural and the virtual one. When interacting with natural systems, we make the effort of believing the fantasy of its mechanics, because in reality, the user or player always have power over the system. How common it is to witness a conflict in sports just because the fans don't agree on the final result. Playing chess with an indecisive opponent is frustrating, so we don't hesitate in making up a new rule for him to make his move quicker. Or we can simply make use of the powerful mechanic threatening is, if you don't make a move, I kick you in the balls. The user of the natural interactive system always has the power over the mechanics. He can decide not to follow some rules, or even invent new ones. However, this is not the case in the virtual interactive system, as its essence is the opposite. All the screaming and rage we experience while playing video games is due to the lack of control over the mechanical system we naturally think must have. When the game shows a game over a screen, doesn't matter if the computer ends up down the window, because the user or player is only a guest in the video game mechanics. The system always has the last word. In return, when being defeated in a chess game, we can reach an agreement with our opponent about the unfairness of that particular game and choose repeating it. The same can't be done when playing an online chess game. The mechanics of the natural interactive system have power only because we decide to accept it that way. A chess piece feels a square on the board because we decide to interpret it that way, as that piece can be located in an infinite amount of coordinates inside that square. Feeling a square is an abstract idea only valid through mutual agreement. In a computer chess game, the position of a piece is determined by the mechanical system. There is no agreement between players. So, we access an interactive natural system through agreement or interpretation, while the virtual system is accessed through submission. There is another important difference between natural and virtual systems which contributes even more to dehumanization, but I'll talk about it in the next video. For now, I just want to talk about something really interesting. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section. You play video games because there is something in your life crushing your soul against the floor. There is something wrong with your daily routine. Something you don't even want to look at. You are not a coward, not irresponsible. You are not childish. You are a deer who refused drinking from the poisonous river, but doesn't know of any other distant forest. Can you see the relation between video games, that is a virtual interactive system, and the very concept of civilization? Do you live through interpretation or through submission? Can you tell how the way of living in the civilized world aims at a virtualization of its own mechanics? And more important than this, can we thought of a way of living which lead us away from a virtual system into a natural one? Where are those forests hidden?